Welcome back, everyone. Today's lesson, we are going to expand our knowledge of numbers. But before I introduce a new concept, I want to introduce our tutee, Mr. Grant here, and I'd like to engage him in our first exercise. So Grant, if you could help the audience, meaning me, write down, when I say numbers, give me some examples of numbers that come to the top of your head. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are whole numbers. What else comes to mind? Okay, decimal, 0.1234 or 12 ten thousandths. Anything else come to mind? What other kinds of numbers are there out there? Okay, fractions. All right, that's a small fraction. So we have whole numbers or integers, we have fractions, we have decimals. So great. All right, thanks for that, for participating. Now I want to introduce a new concept to you. If I could be so kind to grab the marker from you. On the whiteboard, I put this. What is that on the whiteboard in your own words?
A lowercase letter.
A lowercase letter, I. That's right. We know that from a long time ago from our ABCs. What if I were to tell you that this lowercase letter, I, is actually a number? And in fact it is. The lowercase I is equal to the imaginary unit, the square root of -1. Well, you might ask, what is the letter I? It's not a real number. It's not a 1, 2, 3, and it's not. It's called a pure imaginary number. In fact, the square of I is I squared, and that would equal, I squared would be -1. Okay? So how can we have real and imaginary numbers at the same time? Well, there's an important concept. Every number in our universe is a complex number. All right? So, and it doesn't matter, like Grant wrote, if that number is the letter 7 or if it's the number -3i. The letter 7 can be written 7 plus 0, I. Whereas the number -3 can be written 0 minus 3i. So we can use real and imaginary numbers, and that creates the universe of complex numbers. Okay, great. So Grant, for this example, I would like for you to simplify for us what -9 is. The square root, of -9. And our master, Mr. Grant, the tutee, is going to solve that for us. Okay. What Grant did is he divided up the -9 into two components underneath the radical, which is the 9, and the square root of -1, which is I. Once we take out the 9 for under the square root, we get 3, and the I is left over, so the square root of -9 is 3i. Awesome job. Okay, now we're going to do a final example here. If I could have the marker back, we're going to introduce the square root property. Square root property. And in the square root property, it has an x squared and an equation set to 0. All right, so if you'd be so kind again to solve that equation for us. Okay, excellent. Okay, Grant got the answer down here of plus or minus 4i, and that's exactly right. What he did is put the negative 16 on the right side, kept the x squared there, and then he took the square root of both sides. And when you do that, you get x on the left side, and on the right side, you get plus minus, because it could be a negative or a positive root, and you take out the I and you take out the 16. The square root of 16 is 4 to get an answer of plus or minus 4i. And that is our introduction to the complex number system through imaginary numbers. Thanks so much for watching.